This is a real-life story of Leigh Anne Tuohy, those who, with their kindness and pure intentions, completely transformed a person's life. The story begins with a 17-year-old boy known as Big Mike. Big Mike has been raised in foster care since childhood. In the U.S., foster care refers to families that take in children who are not their own, receiving government payments in return. Big Mike is frequently moved around in the foster care system because his father is absent and his mother is addicted to drugs, making her unable to care for him. However, Big Mike never stays long in any foster home and often runs away. One day, Big Mike's friend's dad brings both his son and Big Mike to a public school named Wingate Christian School. The dad knows the school's coach and asks him to admit his son and Big Mike. Initially, the coach declines, saying it's not in his power. However, he mentions that both boys are excellent in sports and asks the coach to watch their game. The coach is taken outside to see Big Mike and his friend playing basketball. When the coach sees Big Mike's physique, he is completely astonished. Despite being only 17 years old, Big Mike has a powerful build and his basketball skills impress the coach immensely. Afterwards, the coach goes to the board members, those who say they can't admit Big Mike because his grades are too low. But the coach manages to convince them, and Big Mike is admitted to the school. Despite this, he doesn't talk to anyone and always seems lost in his thoughts. No one wants to talk to him either. Additionally, Big Mike doesn't write anything on his test papers, leaving them completely blank. One day, while a girls' volleyball match is happening at school, Big Mike watches the game. After everyone leaves, he starts picking up the leftover food the students have left behind. Due to his large size, he feels very hungry, but he has no money to buy food and no home to provide him with a proper meal. He sleeps on his friend's couch, but his friend's mom doesn't like Big Mike staying at their house. So, the next morning, Big Mike leaves his friend's house. When Big Mike is at school, a boy named Sean, who everyone calls SJ, he talks to him for the first time. SJ talks to Big Mike very kindly. Just then, SJ's mom honks the horn from a distance, calling him to the car. She asks her son who he was talking to. SJ tells her that his name is Big Mike and that he got admitted to the school a month ago. That evening, while SJ, his mom Leigh Anne, and his dad Sean are driving home, they see Big Mike shivering from the cold. SJ's dad recognizes Big Mike because he had seen him picking up leftover food after the volleyball match. He asks Big Mike where he's going. Big Mike says he's heading to the gym. After hearing this, SJ's dad drives away, but Leigh Anne starts thinking and tells her husband to turn the car around. She goes up to Big Mike and says, "The school gym closes at night, why are you going there?" Big Mike replies, "Because it's warm." She asks if he has a place to stay that night, and Big Mike says no. Leigh Anne ponders for a moment and then tells him to get in the car, bringing him home with them. Leigh Anne also has a daughter, her name is Collins, who attends the same school as Big Mike. Leigh Anne tells Big Mike that their guest house is filled with her samples, so he'll have to sleep on the couch in the living room. Leigh Anne is an interior designer. She wishes him good night and goes to her room, but she still has doubts about Big Mike. She asks her husband, "How long have you known him?" He replies, "I only saw him once." She worries that Big Mike might steal something, and her husband says they'll find out about this in the morning. The following morning, Leigh Anne goes downstairs and sees that the sofa, the bed sheet and the blanket are all neatly arranged, and Big Mike is gone. She looks outside and sees Big Mike near their garden. She asks him where he's going, and Big Mike says he doesn't know. Leigh Anne tells him, "Today is Thanksgiving, why don't you spend it with us?" Big Mike agrees and comes back into the house. Leigh Anne calls everyone to have breakfast. Everyone takes their breakfast and sits in front of the television. Big Mike takes his breakfast and sits alone at the dining table. Leigh Anne notices this from a distance, and realizes how lonely his life must be. She turns off the television and tells her whole family that they will eat together at the dining table. Later on, they all join Big Mike at the table, say a prayer, and then eat their meal together. After the breakfast, Leigh Anne takes Big Mike aside and tells him she wants to learn more about him. However, Mike doesn't respond. She asks if there's something important she should know about him. Big Mike admits he doesn't like being called Big Mike. Leigh Anne responds, "That's fine. From now on, you'll be Michael to me." Afterwards, Michael goes to his mom's house and finds an eviction notice. His mom has been evicted for not paying rent for several months. Michael returns to Leigh Anne's car. Leigh Anne then takes Michael to a store that sells large clothes and tells him to pick out some clothes. Although he is hesitant, but later he buys a few items at her insistence. The following day, Michael goes to school wearing new clothes for the first time, accompanied by Leigh and son SJ. That night, as he prepares to sleep on the couch, Leigh Anne asks him if he would like to stay a few more nights. She offers to arrange a room for him if he wants to stay. Michael says he doesn't want to leave, and Leigh Anne reassures him. The following day, Leigh Anne visits the school and learns that Michael's grades are very low in every subject except one, where he scored 98%. This subject is protective instinct, which surprises Leigh Anne. That night, Leigh Anne gives Michael his own room. She tells him, "This is where you'll be staying from now on," and shows him his bed. Michael is astonished and says, "I've never had one of these before." Leigh Anne asks, "Your own room?" Michael replies, "No, a bed." He explains that he's always slept on the floor or a sofa, never on a bed. Hearing this, Leigh Anne becomes emotional. She says goodnight and goes to her room, where she reflects on Michael's difficult life and tears fill her eyes. She hadn't realized how tough Michael's life had been. From this point, Michael's life begins to change. He starts focusing on his studies, listening to his teachers, and his grades gradually improve. Later on, in celebration, Leigh Anne's entire family goes out for dinner, and Michael is now a part of their family. After dinner, as they are leaving the restaurant, they see Michael hugging one of the waiters. On the drive back home, Leigh Anne asks Michael how he knows the waiter. Michael explains, "He's my brother." Leigh Anne promises, "We'll visit him sometime." Michael replies, "I don't know where he lives." Leigh Anne asks when you last saw your brother. Michael says it was when I was very young. Leigh Anne is shocked to hear this. She never imagined that living in the same city, a brother could be separated from his sibling for so many years without knowing where he lived. Actually, Michael was born into a very large family with 11 siblings. His mom is completely addicted to drugs, and he has lost touch with all his family members. He has no idea where any of them live. However, helping Michael brings significant changes in Leigh Anne's life. For the first time, she feels a true sense of happiness and realizes she has done something genuinely good in her life. Later on, when Leigh Anne's family takes a photo for their Christmas card, they include Michael, recognizing him as a member of their family. However, this sparks gossip in their community. Some of Leigh Anne's friends mock her, saying she looks small in the photo next to Michael, and question how she can allow a black boy to live in her home, especially with her daughter there. Angered by these comments, Leigh Anne responds, "You should be ashamed of yourselves," and she walks away. At home, Leigh Anne asks her daughter if she feels uncomfortable with Michael living with them. Her daughter replies that while people at school talk about this, but it doesn't bother her. She says they can't send Michael away. The family decides to officially adopt Michael. To understand the adoption process, Leigh Anne visits the government office, where she is informed that they need the signatures of Michael's parents. Michael's father died in an accident, and his mother is heavily addicted to drugs and has multiple legal issues. Since Michael hasn't lived with his mother since he was 7 years old, her signature isn't necessary. Michael can sign for himself. Despite this, Leigh Anne, being a kind-hearted person, she visits Michael's mother to inform her about the adoption. Initially, his mother doesn't respond well, but as they talk, she understands Leigh Anne's intentions. She gives her best wishes for Michael. With this, Michael officially becomes a member of Leigh Anne's family. They even buy Michael a truck, something he has always wanted. Receiving the truck makes Michael very happy. One day, when Leigh Anne comes home from work, her son SJ tells her that he and Michael want to go to a game. Leigh Anne says she can't go with them because she has a meeting. SJ suggests that Michael can drive him. As Michael and SJ are on their way to the game, they get into an accident. When Leigh Anne arrives at the scene, she sees that her son is injured but not severely, thanks to the airbags. She is informed that children of SJ's age can be seriously injured by airbags, sometimes even breaking their necks, but SJ was lucky. Leigh Anne then goes to Michael, who is physically fine but filled with guilt. Leigh Anne reassures him, saying it wasn't your fault. Michael apologizes, and when Leigh Anne looks at his hands, she sees his hands are injured. She asks what happened to his hands. Michael explains that he blocked the airbags with his hands to protect SJ. This act of protection is why SJ only suffered minor injuries. Michael has been practicing American football at school but hasn't been performing well in games. Despite his strong build, unique in the entire school, he holds back, likely out of fear of hurting someone. When Leigh Anne sees him playing tentatively, she approaches him and asks, "Do you remember what you said the first time we went to the store to buy clothes?" Michael replies, "I said I would protect you." Actually, the people and environment at that place weren't very nice, which is why Michael had said that. Leigh Anne then asks, "What did you do when the airbags deployed in the car?" Michael replies, "I blocked them with my hands." Leigh Anne says, "This team is your family, and you need to protect it just like you protected your family." She then leaves, and the practice resumes. This time, Michael performs exceptionally well, impressing everyone, including the coach. The coach, amazed by Michael's transformation, and he approaches Leigh Anne and asks, "What did you say to him?" Leigh Anne replies, "You need to understand your players better." Michael scored 98% in protective instincts. Following this, Michael's game starts improving day by day. In the next match, Michael's team doesn't perform well initially, but later, Michael performs exceptionally. He even pushes the opposing team's best player out of the field, in which his team earns a lot of points. Michael continues to play well and leads his team to victory. SJ records the entire match, and his father creates a series of clips, which he sends to all the coaches. When they see Michael's performance, they are all amazed and they all want Michael to play for their teams. As a result, several coaches visit Michael's home to request him to join their teams. Instead of Michael, his younger brother SJ talks to them. He says, "Michael and I are very close. If Michael goes to play matches, how will I meet him?" The coaches assure him that he can attend the matches anytime. Upon hearing this, SJ is delighted by this. Subsequently, Michael plays several matches with different teams and gradually becomes very famous. Additionally, the tutor who comes to teach him at home, she pays close attention to his studies, resulting in improved grades. Michael's life changes completely, and now every college wants him to join their team. However, Michael decides to enroll at the University of Mississippi because Leigh Anne graduated from there and she was a cheerleader, and her husband was also a basketball player there. Later on, Michael successfully meets the grade requirements for admission and joins the Mississippi team to play football. And now, Michael is called in by an NCAA investigator for some questions and answers. The NCAA is an organization that oversees the well-being of every athlete. The investigator talks to Michael alone and asks him why he chose to enroll at Mississippi. Michael doesn't have a clear answer to this. The investigator tells Michael that he was a kid on the streets, a family took him in, gave him food, they paid for his school fees, they arranged a private tutor and gifted him a car, and eventually adopted him legally. The investigator says that all this could have been part of a plan, and there might be other people involved because they might have seen his sports ability early on. Michael becomes very confused and upset. He is quite innocent and doesn't know how to process this information. Angrily, he leaves the room. Outside, Leigh Anne is waiting for him. Michael confronts her, asking why she did all this for him, why she took him into her home, educated him, and made him a better person, only to make him do what she wanted, to enroll in the college of her choice. The investigator's words echo in his mind. Leigh Anne tries to explain that there is nothing like that, but Michael, feeling betrayed and angry, storms off. From there, he goes to his biological mom's house, but she isn't there. A gang leader is present and invites Michael in, offering him beer, which Michael refuses. The gang leader then starts talking trash about Leigh Anne and her daughter. Michael stands up to him, telling him to shut his mouth. But the gangster pulls out a gun and says he will shoot Michael first and then go to his house and do unspeakable things to his new mom and her daughter. This enrages Michael, and he attacks the gangster and he beating him up badly before leaving the place. Meanwhile, Leigh Anne is very worried about Michael. The next day, she goes looking for him and receives a call from him. Michael tells her he's there, and she rushes to meet him. She asks Michael if he likes football, to which he replies yes. Leigh Anne tells him that she and Sean talked last night, and they want him to choose Tennessee University. Michael is surprised to hear this and asks why. Leigh Anne tells him that it's what they want and that it's his life, and he can do whatever he wants. It's his decision. However, she promises to be there for him in every game and support him. Later on, once again, Michael goes to the NCAA investigator to answer his questions. She asks him which university he wants to attend. Michael says he will go to Mississippi University. She asks why. Michael says because his dad studied there, his mom studied there, and now he will study there too. Finally, Michael is ready to go to that university. When he's leaving, Leigh Anne became emotional. She sits in the car with tears in her eyes. Michael approaches her and says, "Mom, I want to hug you." Michael and Leigh Anne hug each other. And in the end of the film, a newspaper article shows us where a 21-year-old boy who was shot and killed, despite having great athletic abilities. His life could have been like Michael's if he had found a family like Leigh Anne's family. The article shows real photos of Michael, Leigh Anne and their entire family, emphasizing how Michael became a part of their lives. This story teaches us a lot. Leigh Anne not only changed Michael's life but also her own. She realized that life is not about living selfishly but about contributing to others' lives. If we can make even one person's life in our life, it's an achievement that no success in this world can replace. This movie was released in 2009 and had a rating of 7.6 on IMDb. It had a budget of $9 million and earned $310 million at the box office. Sandra Bullock won the Best Actress Oscar for her lead role in this film. So friends, this was the whole story of The Blind Side. We hope you enjoyed this story.